clients describe NBC as hell, as the worst conditions they've been in.
The government wanted to turn himself in because then they can't ask for detention. So they go and they arrest him. They arrest a guy who came to New York to turn himself in.
Diddy Combs is no stranger to the spotlight, but the headlines surrounding him lately have nothing to do with his music or business success. Instead, they are focused on something far darker, his secretive and extravagant gatherings, often referred to as freak-off parties, and the controversies swirling around them. These events, once known for being the ultimate in exclusivity and luxury, have now become the centerpiece of a scandal that could topple not only Diddy, but an entire web of influential figures. The question now is, what was really going on behind those closed doors?
Diddy Combs into custody. He's seen in this video entering the Park Hyatt Hotel in Midtown Manhattan with others when agents from Homeland Security Investigations approach and separate him. They place Combs under arrest and lead him out the front door in handcuffs.
Picture this. A list of celebrities, artists, and aspiring entertainers gathered in private locations, high-end venues in New York, Miami, Los Angeles, or the Hamptons, all drawn by the allure of networking with the music industry's most powerful man. But what appeared to be glamorous, star-studded parties on the surface were allegedly something far more sinister beneath. Rumors of manipulated guests, secret recording devices, and suspicious behavior are slowly creeping into the light, making people question what really went down at these events.
We all saw it posted yesterday all over our social media pages. Cassie filed a lawsuit in New York City against Diddy.
Yikes.
She's claiming she was stuck in a decade-long cycle of abuse.
Tony Busby, the attorney representing over 100 accusers, has painted a disturbing picture of what took place during these lavish gatherings. He claims that the so-called freak-off parties were carefully staged and the guests weren't just there for fun. The parties were apparently full of hidden agendas involving not just entertainment, but manipulation, control, and leverage. Think about it, what better way to have people wrapped around your finger than by throwing the wildest events, getting them to let their guard down, and potentially using compromising material against them later?
And Stacey, you say today's indictment reads like a mob indictment. What was most shocking to you of all these allegations?
Yeah, the fact, Jake, that the government in this indictment presented evidence alleging that Sean Combs was running a criminal enterprise.
Let's talk about what these parties were like. Those who attended describe over the top luxury, private chefs, sprawling estates, extravagant pools, and free-flowing amenities that seem to know no limits. Yet, behind the glittering scenes, there were whispered reports that guests were sometimes pressured into doing things they wouldn't have otherwise done. Some claimed that their drinks left them feeling disoriented, unsure of their surroundings, and that afterward, they couldn't quite remember what had happened during the night. In a way, it all seems straight out of a dark thriller, a high-rolling event where the attendees start to realize they might have been part of something they never signed up for.
Right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Busby's accusations go deeper than mere parties gone wrong. According to him, Diddy didn't just organize these wild nights for fun. He had other motives. His law firm claims that these events were designed to create a network of leverage, almost like a secret operation where people would get caught in compromising situations, unknowingly filmed or observed, with the footage saved for future use. It's been rumored that this was a tactic to keep people in line, ensure loyalty, or perhaps even force them to make certain business decisions.
Rumors are that Diddy was running some kind of Epstein-type deal where he was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors, yeah. I don't know that there's any proof or anything other than that.
One name that frequently pops up is Cuba Gooding Jar, an actor who was allegedly spotted at several of these parties. Now, it's important to note that no one is outright saying Cuba was involved in anything criminal, but the implication is there. He might have seen things, might have known about the darker side of these gatherings. The idea is that there were probably several celebrities who attended these parties, perhaps witnessed things they shouldn't have, and now the looming question is, did they stay silent to protect their own careers?
It was just an escape for me. I was just young, like everybody in the industry and people in the world who experiment and do.
These events weren't just about the party scene. They were about business, connections, and favors that extended far beyond the dance floor. Behind the scenes, Diddy allegedly used these parties to cement high-level business deals involving major corporations, banks, and hotels. Think about it. These places played host to the most exclusive events, yet no one raised an eyebrow about what went on behind the luxury suites doors. Why? Were they complicit, or were they turning a blind eye to protect their profitable business relationship with one of the music industry's most successful figures?
If you got to run to a private island because your evil doings are doing so much and they storming your house, it's one of these.
These high-end hotels, particularly in Miami and New York, may have had more involvement than anyone initially thought. Busby claims that some of these institutions were not only aware of what was happening, but actively helped make these events possible. Whether it was allowing suspicious activities to happen within their walls or processing financial transactions that appeared questionable, it seems some of these well-established businesses might have more to answer for than they're willing to admit. Now, investigations are underway, and some reports suggest that these entities could face legal repercussions for allowing such behavior to occur on their properties.
It's so funny what's happening with Diddy because this was inevitable.
Banks, too, are in the spotlight. According to BuzzFeed, some of the financial institutions that worked with Diddy helped process transactions that, in hindsight, seem sketchy at best. Payments were allegedly made in cash to ensure discretion, and there's speculation that these banks may have looked the other way when they saw large sums of money moving under suspicious circumstances. Could these financial dealings be part of a larger scheme to fund and maintain Diddy's controversial gatherings? It's becoming clear that this is no longer just about one man. It's about an entire ecosystem that allowed these events to continue for years.
A lot of the evidence, alleged evidence, that's been gathered in this case was from those 2 raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles. And the indictment names the things seized that he allegedly made videos of these sexual performances that have been named freak-offs.
BuzzFeed has stated in interviews that more lawsuits are coming not just against Diddy, but against some of the companies that may have facilitated his actions. A firestorm is coming, he warned, indicating that this could be one of the biggest legal battles the entertainment world has ever seen. He hinted that when the full list of corporate and celebrity enablers is revealed, it will shock the public. And while we don't know exactly who will be named, the suggestion that big banks, luxury hotels, and even powerful pharmaceutical companies might be involved has raised more than a few eyebrows. It's becoming clear that the fallout from this case could stretch far beyond Diddy's circle of personal acquaintances.
Stevie J, the Usher part, that's a touchy situation, man.
At this point, it's hard to know exactly where the blame will fall. Diddy has repeatedly denied all allegations, with his legal team calling the accusations false and defamatory. His attorney, Erica Wolf, has claimed that this is all just a reckless media circus fueled by rumors and speculation rather than facts. She insists that Diddy looks forward to proving his innocence in court and vindicating his name. But as more details emerged, the scale of this scandal is starting to feel overwhelming. How many people knew what was going on? How many others stood by and said nothing? And the accusations keep piling up. BuzzFeed claims that the people he represents have provided photos, videos, and messages that corroborate their stories. If this evidence is as damning as he suggests, Diddy's legal troubles are only just beginning. Some of the accusers have already spoken to authorities, while others are weighing their options. But one thing is certain, the lawsuits are coming, and they could expose more than just one man's wrongdoing.
That this is the end of the Diddy story as we know it.
The more you dig into the details, the more it feels like this could become a major turning point for the entertainment industry. Diddy, once at the top of the game, now faces the possibility of losing everything. But it's not just about him. It's about a culture that may have protected and enabled this behavior for years. If BuzzFeed's warnings are anything to go by, we're only scratching the surface of a much deeper issue. The question on everyone's mind now is, who else will be named? How many powerful people have had their hands in this scandal? And how far will the repercussions go?
There has been some updates in the Diddy $100 million default judgment that we reported on earlier this week.
As more evidence comes to light, the stakes grow even higher. This isn't just a story about parties gone wrong. It's a story about power, influence, and control. Diddy's parties were not just exclusive gatherings for the elite. They were allegedly designed to trap people, to create situations that could be used for leverage. What started as a few rumors has now escalated into a full-blown legal battle that could take down not just Diddy, but anyone who was part of his inner circle. The next few months are going to be crucial as the court cases begin and more details emerge.
There are some problems that the defense has brought up originally, but it seems like, just from reading this 14-page indictment, that there is enough physical evidence to perhaps get a conviction in this case. We shall see. These are allegations.
But here's the thing. This story doesn't end with Diddy. Now, the question on everyone's mind is this. Who else could be dragged into this mess? Sure, Diddy's name is the one in the spotlight right now, but behind every scandal like this, there are usually plenty of other high-profile figures caught in the crossfire. Diddy didn't build his empire alone, and there are whispers that some of his closest associates, friends, and business partners might find themselves facing some uncomfortable questions. Is it possible that the fallout from Diddy's trial could topple more than just his career?
Ruining lives. And now they've indoctrinated these kids into thinking that this is the way because this is what they know.
The entertainment world has always been tight-knit, especially when it comes to music and Hollywood's biggest names. Celebrities know how to close ranks when one of their own is in trouble. But this time, things feel different. The sheer number of allegations, the gravity of the accusations, and the ongoing legal battle make it hard to believe that this will simply blow over. The stakes are high, and if Diddy starts talking, or if more evidence comes out, then some of the most famous names in the industry might be dragged into the scandal.
After they are done with Diddy, Jay-Z is up next to be exposed, right?
Take Jay-Z, for example. Everyone knows that Jay-Z and Diddy were once close. They've been photographed together at high-profile events, worked on major collaborations, and were often seen as two of the most powerful men in the music business. But behind the public smiles and champagne toasts, rumors suggest their relationship might have soured over the years. There are even whispers that Jay-Z distanced himself from Diddy as more and more stories about his controversial gatherings started to emerge. The question is, how much did Jay-Z know? And if he knew something, why didn't he speak up?
Because I'm seeing him go from his independence to then becoming Puff Daddy. You know what I'm saying? And I got a front row seat looking at that.
It's not just Jay-Z who's staying silent. A whole roster of celebrities who were once part of Diddy's inner circle has been keeping a low profile ever since the accusations came to light. Beyoncé, for one, has remained quiet. Despite being at the top of the music world and a known associate of Diddy through various industry events, her team has made no comment on the unfolding scandal. But could it be possible that she, too, knew something about the darker side of Diddy's world? And if more lawsuits come to light, could she or her husband, Jay-Z, find themselves in a position where they'll need to answer uncomfortable questions? Right now, they're playing it smart, keeping their distance, but that might not be enough if Diddy's legal situation worsens.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand it.
Justin Bieber is another name that has been floating around ever since Diddy's legal troubles began. Back when Bieber was a rising star, Diddy took him under his wing, mentoring him and giving him access to a world that most teenagers could only dream of. But that relationship is being viewed in a different light now. It's no secret that Diddy's mentorship included some wild times, with Bieber himself hinting at the craziness he was exposed to during his time with Diddy. On talk shows and in interviews, Bieber has dropped cryptic comments about the things he saw, and it's clear that he witnessed more than just industry parties. If more details about those days come out, it could force Bieber into an awkward spot, especially if it's revealed that he saw or experienced things that he's kept quiet about all these years.
Because you're going to be a big voice for the future, and I need them to know what the dangers are.
Absolutely.
The same can be said for Usher, who has remained conspicuously silent despite his long history with Diddy. Usher lived with Diddy as a teenager, and while he's joked about the outrageous experiences he had, there's a darker undertone to those stories now. What exactly did Usher see during his time living with Diddy, and did those experiences leave him with knowledge that could come back to haunt him? Rumors have swirled for years that Usher's time with Diddy wasn't just about music and mentorship. It was about being exposed to a side of the industry that no one wants to talk about publicly. Could Usher be the next name to surface in this growing scandal?
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no.
Then there's Naomi Campbell, the supermodel who has been photographed at some of Diddy's most exclusive parties. Naomi and Diddy were often seen together at major events, looking glamorous and carefree. But with these new revelations, people are starting to wonder if Naomi might have seen more than just the glitz and glamour of those nights. Did she witness the questionable behavior that is now at the center of these lawsuits? And if so, why hasn't she said anything? As more celebrities are drawn into the spotlight, it's possible that Naomi's name will come up, especially if more details about those famous freak-off parties are revealed. After all, being close to Diddy during those wild years means there's a good chance she saw things that others didn't.
Well, if he really was filming everybody, I mean, he had a lot of people at those parties, right?
Of course, this web of silence isn't unique to the music industry. Hollywood's elite have also been linked to Diddy over the years. Take Leonardo DiCaprio, for instance. DiCaprio, one of the biggest names in Hollywood, has been photographed at Diddy's famous white parties, looking every bit the carefree playboy. But with the new allegations, some are questioning whether his association with Diddy was purely about enjoying a good time or whether there's more to the story. Could Leonardo have been of what went on at these parties? And if so, does he have something to hide? Right now, Leo's camp has denied any involvement in the darker side of Diddy's gatherings, but as we've seen before, silence can only protect someone for so long.
Now, if the government is going to mandate that they are responsible for your well-being, they have to ensure the safety of your well-being.
There's also the issue of how deep this scandal goes. This isn't just about celebrities enjoying a night out at a party. They might be linked to a much bigger, much darker story. Some of Diddy's parties were allegedly filled with hidden cameras, which means there could be footage out there that implicates more than just Diddy. This has people wondering, is there a stash of compromising material locked away somewhere waiting to be exposed? And if so, how many of Hollywood's elite could be in those tapes? The idea that some of the most powerful names in entertainment might be caught up in, this is enough to make anyone in the industry nervous.
Replete with very, very serious and salacious allegations, including allegations that Combs had cameras throughout his homes.
Tony Buzbee, the attorney leading the charge against Diddy, has hinted that the fallout from this case could be massive. He's warned that some of the biggest names in music, fashion, and Hollywood could be drawn into the scandal once the full extent of Diddy's actions is uncovered. In interviews, Buzbee has said that Diddy wasn't acting alone, that there were enablers and accomplices who turned a blind eye to what was going on or even actively participated. He's been quoted saying that the full list of those involved will shock the public, and that once everything is out in the open, there won't be any escaping the consequences. If Buzbee's right, this could be just the beginning of a much larger reckoning for the entertainment industry.
You know, I think in federal court and for these charges, they would say it's routine, but in the public realm, this is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, I mean, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell, right?
And let's not forget that Hollywood and the music industry have seen this kind of thing before. Remember the fall of Harvey Weinstein? That scandal started with a few whispers and eventually grew into a full-blown movement that toppled one of the most powerful men in the industry. The Me Too movement that followed exposed a system of abuse and silence that had existed for decades. Now, people are starting to wonder if Diddy's situation could trigger a similar chain reaction. Could this be the beginning of a new wave of revelations? One that brings down not just Diddy, but an entire network of powerful individuals who have operated with impunity for too long?
The issue is, it seems as though he wants to kind of like exert power and dominance over people who don't really want it.
The parallels to past scandals are hard to ignore. Just like with Weinstein, Epstein, and others before him, Diddy's fall could open the floodgates for more accusations to come pouring in. And if that happens, it won't just be the celebrities who are in trouble. It could expose systemic issues within the entertainment industry itself. People are already drawing comparisons between Diddy's gatherings and the infamous parties that Jeffrey Epstein threw, where high-profile guests were allegedly complicit in keeping secrets. It's not a stretch to imagine that Diddy's parties operated in a similar way, with people knowing things they shouldn't, but staying silent out of fear or loyalty.
I know so much on how you got where you are, how you stepped on many people.
As the pressure builds, there's a growing sense that we're on the brink of something big. Diddy's legal team might be fighting hard to clear his name, but the sheer weight of the accusations makes it hard to believe that he's the only one who will face consequences. In fact, the longer this drags on, the more likely it is that others will be named, and that could mean serious trouble for some of the biggest stars in the world. But it's not just celebrities who are feeling the heat. Some of the corporate entities that have worked with Diddy over the years are also starting to sweat. Major brands, hotels, and even banks that have been associated with Diddy's lavish lifestyle are now under scrutiny. Did they know what was happening behind the scenes? Did they profit from turning a blind eye to the darker side of Diddy's empire? As investigations ramp up, there's a real possibility that some of these companies will find themselves facing lawsuits or criminal charges. The ripple effect from Diddy's trial could be felt across industries, shaking up the way business is done in Hollywood and beyond.
Sean Diddy Combs. And there has been a lot going on. Since November, there have been 8 civil lawsuits filed against Diddy. 7 of them accuse him of sexual assault.
The real question now is, how far will this go? If Diddy's trial leads to more names being exposed, will it trigger a domino effect like the one we saw with the Me Too movement? Could we be looking at the next big Hollywood reckoning where secrets that have been buried for decades finally come to light? One thing's for sure, the entertainment world is holding its breath, waiting to see what happens next. In the end, this scandal could be about much more than Diddy himself. It's about the culture of silence that has protected powerful people for far too long. It's about the way the rich and famous have used their influence to avoid consequences. And it's about the system that has allowed these behaviors to continue unchecked. If Diddy's trial marks the beginning of the end for that system, then we're in for one of the biggest shakeups Hollywood has ever seen. So, what do you think? Could Diddy's trial be the tipping point that finally pulls back the curtain on Hollywood's darkest secrets? And how many other big names might get caught in the fallout if the full extent of these revelations comes to light? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching and stay tuned. This story is just getting started.